Today I'm going to be covering some settings that you want to use in your AimLab, and some of them are very important, some of them are down to personal preference. You can copy mine and yeah, enjoy. So now I'm going to talk about the audio ones, the audio settings that you want to use. For the music volume, I recommend turning it down. Sometimes it really bothers me when I play, and if I'm AFKing and I'm still wearing headphones, it will sometimes really bother me with the music. You can first turn it up. Personal preference. Weapon volume, I recommend turning it down. Sometimes it's really annoying. For the weapon volume, if you're playing grid shot like me, when you really have shooting really fast and there's weapon volume, it really bothers me too. So you can of course turn it down. And yeah, it really does bother you sometimes. And now to the hit sound settings. Hit sound volume, you want to turn it relatively down, but not none. You want to really hear, did you hit it or not, hit your target or not, but you don't want it to be really loud again. And here on the hit sound, there's a lot of hit sounds that it's also down to personal preference, but I recommend like the default Metal 04. Here, the default Metal 04 had the sound. Here's the 01 sound. Here's the 04 sound. So when you hit really fast, it goes like this. Yeah. So I recommend using the default Metal 04. And now to the graphics section. There, of course, you want full screen window. It's by default. You want it there. Display resolution just by what your monitor is. My monitor is 1080p monitor, so I set it to 1080p, and my monitor is 144 Hz. You want 144 Hz. These are not really important. Frame rate limit, you want it on, because if you're using a 144 Hz monitor, you want it to be 144 frame, so it does not overrun your monitor. And there are different graphics things. These I don't recommend to mess with it. You can mess with it, of course, but I think they don't really do anything. My computer uses fantastic graphics. Most of the computer can, because AimLab doesn't really use super high graphics. And now let's do controls. Game profile depends on what game you play. You can input the most likely sensitivity thing you want to input to. Now input some my Valorant sensitivity there. The field of view. Some games have different field of view. Some games you can choose it. Some games you can adjust it, so you can adjust it well. These everything. The ADS profile, you can choose it as different weapons in different games also. And there are just a bunch of these settings that does not really matter. These controller settings does not really matter too much. If you're using the controller, you can of course watch people use it, but I don't think it's really that important. I think maybe it's linear for controller. Yeah, so that's all that's interesting if you on controller, if you're using controller. For crosshair, here, personal preference again. So if you like mine, you can copy mine, of course, but it's just you adjust it, mess around with these settings, find the one you like. I use red crosshair because you can see later when on the one setting I'll tell you which really shows why I need a red crosshair here. So these are the settings. You want the regular one to be a sharp color, so you can see well in black background. Why black background? Because you want it to be black background. I'll tell you later why. And regular, you want it to be maybe green. I use green, and you can see because I have a red crosshair. You can see here. So I use the red crosshair, so it sharps, and I can see when I hit, it will be better. And you want the hit to be translucent, most likely black. Later you'll know why. In the miss, maybe you just make it red, the opposite to regular. Now here you can just change it to custom RGB for everyone. The last one I did not, because it's just red. Yup, red. So you keep adding just what your keybinds is. You can always change it, maybe for leaning keybinds if you play R6 maybe. So maybe crouch, either hold or something. There's motion controller ones. And also the one setting that we need to change is the hide your things, to hide your weapon. So that's very important. You can custom tasks in this game, in this AimLab. So you can custom different tasks. Maybe you can watch some other videos about it. I won't really be covering it in this video. So these are some tasks you could customize, but I don't really think so. You should, because the normal tasks are really okay, good enough. You can customize weapons too, so here I'm going to show you weapon. Customizing weapon is very good. Maybe I'll need this called for content. Yep, here for content. And base weapon model, I play Great Shot, so you want the fire rate to be lowest. So I recommend 9mm or Eagle. If you hide your weapon, doesn't really matter. If you do not, maybe the one Eagle if you play CS, so you know you can kind of get familiar when you hold the Eagle. Yep, and because they have such a low fire rate, it's single shots. So you want to use these two guns. If you're by default using these two guns. And here, disable recall, because if you're playing Great Shot like me also, recall sometimes it's really will mess your aim. You want to learn the flex by just flicking. Disable ADS because sometimes you accidentally hit right click with your mouse. You accidentally hit right click. Sometimes it will mess up your sensitivity. That's a leaning. Maybe if you play R6, use a custom leaning if you wish. You can always use it. And that's most likely it. And there's also a recall pattern. I won't be covering it. Some you can search in a workshop. Also later I'll tell you. So here in the gray box, very important guys. So in the gray box, you want everything to be black. These the color ones, everything turned down to 0. Except for smoothness, you want to be more smooth. So you see, if I turn on the smoothness here, it will have some light, which won't do the effect we want. You want it to be the most smoothest as possible. And that's most likely the thing you want in AimLab, the gray box. And these are the settings for it. And yeah. And then the whole thing is going to be black. The target color you chose before, like as I chose green, it will be shop. The workshop, there's a lot of things. There's sometimes recall, so recall is very good too. And yeah, that's most likely it. Thanks for watching the video guys. Hope you enjoy. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and see ya.